Alrighty, this is the tutorial for the Geometry Fall 2017 review. Final. Okay. Number 1, identify the converse of the statement, if cats fly, then ducks bark. If you remember from back in Unit 2, to write a converse, we must write Q, then P. P in this situation is cats fly. Q is ducks bark. So we need to switch them and leave if and then in place. So that means our answer for number 1 is D. If ducks bark, then cats fly. Number 2 wants us to write an inverse. So an inverse, we do not P, then not Q. So on this situation, P is a triangle, has 3 sides. Q is it is equilateral. So we need to add not to next to both verbs. So the correct answer would be A. If a triangle does not have 3 equal sides, then it is not equilateral. Number 3 wants the contrapositive. To write the contrapositive, we do not Q, then not P. So switch and negate. So P is the slope is not 3. Q, the lines are parallel. So P already has not in it, so that means we do the opposite and remove it. Q needs a not, so we're going to add it next to R. Plus, we need to switch them around. Q needs to come first. So the correct answer would be B. If the lines are not parallel, then the slope is 3. Number 4. If you are sitting, then you are on a chair. Which statement below is correct? The correct answer to this one is A, because we could be sitting on a bench. It would be considered a counterexample. Another counterexample would be sitting on the floor or sitting on a bed. So the conjecture stating that just because you're sitting, you're automatically on a chair is not always true. It's sometimes true. So that's why the answer was A. 5. If angle ABC and angle CBD are supplementary, then angle ABC is congruent to angle CBD. First of all, if you remember, supplementary means two angles that add and equal 180. So what the conjecture is trying to say is that two angles that add to 180 have to be congruent. They have to be the same. So what we would say is B, the conjecture is false, because ABC could be 30 and CBD could be 150. Together they add up to 180, but they're not the same. They're not congruent. So B would be correct on this problem. Number 6. Ms. Perry considers the following statement. If two acute angles are supplementary, then 1 plus 1 is equal to 10. P is two acute angles are supplementary. Q, 1 plus 1 is equal to 10. P is also known as your hypothesis. Q is known as your conclusion. So, is the hypothesis true or false? The hypothesis is false. The reason the hypothesis is false because the largest acute angle could be like 89.9999. If I add it to itself, 89.9, it would not quite hit 180 degrees. So it's not possible to be both acute and to be exactly 180. You'll be close, but you won't ever be exactly 180. And then, for obvious reasons, 1 plus 1 does not equal 10, folks, so my conclusion is also false. However, the most important thing to notice is that my hypothesis is false. And anytime you have a false hypothesis, the entire statement is true. So the answer is C. The entire statement is true. Number 7. Coach Brazy made the following statement. 3 plus 4 is equal to 5. And then parallel lines intersect. So the hypothesis, or P this time, is 3 plus 4 is equal to 5. Parallel lines intersect. That's your conclusion. So this time, my hypothesis, again, is false. 3 plus 4 is 7, right? And then my conclusion, parallel lines intersect. That's also false because we know parallel lines don't cross. They don't ever meet. So for number 7, again, the most important thing to remember is my hypothesis is false. Anytime the hypothesis is false, the entire statement is true. So it is B. All right, for number 8, it says if angle A is the complement of angle B, then the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B equals 90 degrees. Determine which of the following statements are true. To do this one, it works best to write out each statement before judging whether it's true or false. So let's go to a different page to do that. Alrighty, so let's identify our P's and our Q's first. P and angle A is the complement of B. Q, the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B is 90. Again, to do the converse, it's P, then, Q, then P. The inverse, not P, then not Q. And then the contrapositive is not Q, then not P. Alright, so please forgive me in my handwriting, but I'll do the best that I can. So please write down whatever you hear, more so than what you possibly might be able to see. So to write the converse, it would be if the measures of A plus the measure of B is 90 degrees, then angle A is the complement of angle B. So if two angles add together and equal 90 degrees, then yes, they complement each other. So this statement is true. All right, let's look at the second statement. The inverse, sorry. If angle A isn't the complement of angle B, then the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B does not equal 90 degrees. which is still a true statement. Because the definition of a complement means they add together to equal 90. So now our last statement, the contrapositive, would say if the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B doesn't equal 90, then angle A is not the complement of angle B. And again, that is a true statement. So all three were true, so our final answer is D. Number 9 says, given the points -5, 9, and 3, -5, which point is the same distance from both coordinates? This comes from the very first unit. We're going to find the distance using the distance formula. You could also use Pythagorean's theorem if you have an actual grid to use, but in this case we don't. So the distance formula simply is x minus x squared plus y minus y squared. Okay? Yes, there's a more complex looking formula, but it doesn't really matter which values for x and y you put in first, to be honest. And then we need to compare each answer choice with the original points. So let's begin. So answer choice A is -1, 2. So I'm first going to find the distance between it and our first coordinate. So I always set up my skeleton to get ready to write. So for this one, my x's are -5 and -1. So I would say -5 plus 1 because two double negatives make a positive. And then my y's are 9 and 2. So 9 minus 2. Again, I'm also going to need to find the distance with the other point that they gave us. So I'm going to write it out first before I grab my calculator because it'll just make that part easier. All right, the x values this time are 3 and 1, -1 again, because again, we're comparing it to -1, 2. And my y's are -5 and 2. And now we'll grab our calculator. So second x squared gives us the square root sign. Open parentheses. Oops, I need to be able to see everything. All right, open parentheses, -5 plus 1, close parentheses, squared, plus, open parentheses, 9 minus 2, close parentheses, squared. And that equals about 8.1. Now, I don't want to retype all that all over again. I just want to change those first two numbers in both sets of parentheses. So I would arrow up to highlight and hit enter to drop it down. And then go all the way over, delete the negative sign and type 3, and then all the way back over. I need a negative sign, and then I need to insert, second, delete, insert a 5 so that I don't overwrite everything I've already typed. And now hit enter again. And notice my distance is the same. It's about 8.1. So A is the correct answer to this problem. Since the distances are about 8.1 in both cases, A will have the same distance to each point. Now for number 10, you're going to have to do the same process, but 4 times. So let's get started. So again, I'm taking answer choice A first, 2, 1, and I'm finding the distance between A and negative 2, 5 first. All right, so my X values right now are negative 2 and positive 2 from the first point and the answer choice. Good. My Y values are 5 and 1. Now let's set up the other skeleton for the extra point. Again, let's write them all out before we grab our calculators. That makes life a little easier. So set up the skeleton for all scenarios. In this case, my X values are 4 and 2, and my Y's are 5 and 1. So now let's calculate the distance. Again, you can highlight, bring it down, right, go all the way back over. So now I need a negative, insert 2, minus 2. Let me delete this. That doesn't belong. I need a positive 5, so delete the negative, minus 1. All right, I got that answer. Now I need to copy that one and just change the first number in each parenthesis. Delete the negative, type 4, and the second one is exactly the same. So these two distances are not the same. We have about 4.7 and 5.7 and 4.5. Five point seven, 4.5. So it's not A. So now that we know it's not A, again, let's write them all out and then grab the calculator. So now we're going to check B, 0, 5. 'All right. So the first number is going to be negative 2 again, but the second X value is 0 this time. the first y value is 5 again, and the second y value is also 5. That's for -2, 5, and 0, 5. Now I'm going to do 4, 5, and 0, 5. So the first x value is 4, the second one is 0 still, and then 5 minus 5 again. So let's get our calculator in, type them all in. Alright, I'm going to copy this one again. That's what I should have copied. Let's clear this. Clear. I copied too much. Copied too much. Alright, go back up to the first one I did from this set of problems. There we go. That way, the only thing I have to change is the second digit this time. Alright, so this becomes a 0. And this becomes a 5. Alright. So now I have that distance. It's 2. That was simple. Now I'm going to copy that one again. Nah, since that negative's there, I'm going to copy this one. And again, change the second number only. Goodness. So this is a 0. And this is a 5. Make sure it looks like what I wrote, which it does, and that's good. So this distance is 4. So it's not B. This one was 2. This one was 4. So it's not B. Let's try C. -1, -1. Alright, so -2, 5, and -1, 1. So my x's are -2 and -1. So that's -2 plus 1. And then my y values are 5 and -1. So 5 plus 1 for that first one. Now 4, 5 with -1, -1. So that's 4 plus 1 and 5 plus 1 again. Grab the calculator. I'm going to copy the one with the -2 leading, so I don't have to delete negatives and things like that, to kind of make my life a little easier. I need to change the minus to a plus, and this to a 1. And again, minus becomes plus, and this becomes 1. It matches the top one, so I'm good. Enter. Now I need to copy this one with 4 leading. And again, change those to plus 1s. Plus 1 there. And plus 1 here. Before I hit enter, does it look like my page? Yes. So about 6.1 and 7.8. So it's still not quite there yet. Ooh. 6.1 and about 7.8. So obviously it's not C, which means it's probably D, but let's just see why. Extend my page. D is 1, 1. Okay. So -2 minus 1 for the first, and 5 minus 1. And then 4 minus 1 and 5 minus 1 again. Now let's grab our calculator. Copy down the one with the -2 leading. And the only change this time is the plus some minus, which is nice and simple. And enter 5. Now I'm going to copy down the one with the 4 leading and do the same thing. And 5. Voila! So we finally came to the answer we were looking for, and I showed you why it works. So again, these both equal to 5. So D, the coordinate 0 or 1, 1 is 5 units from -2, 5, and it's 5 units from 4, 5. So it is the same distance. That was a lot, I understand. So we're going to take a break right here and resume with the next few problems in just a moment.